Hi guys, hi everybody, it's attorney Brooke Goff for The Bacon Sip. This is one of the favorite things that I do. These angles make me look enormous. I assure you I'm not, but these angles make me look that way. Okay, so every week I try to make a different type of cookie, try to make some fun out of this whole, horrible quarantine time period. I know lots of you guys have been viewing, and I appreciate that. Thank you for coming in and joining us each week. The wine is, I've been letting it breathe for the last half hour or so, is a Decoy. It's a Decoy red, great one. I'm gonna pour a glass now. I hope you guys all have your wine too. I'll be back we'll start in about a minute. Let some people come in the room. Guys, thanks. All right, so again, I don't really like bitter wines. That's just kind of how I am. I used to drink super sweet Rieslings for the longest time until I got more into the reds. I don't really like white. I'll drink a couple on here just to play pretend with you guys, but I don't really like to drink white. I like to drink nice reds, like a bold red, oaky red, or I'll drink, not like sweet reds, but just something, I don't know. I'm a little pickier when it comes to that. I get picked on because I used to be told that the white wines I drank was like Kool-Aid. But so again, the bottle's Decoy. Companies don't pay me anything to do this, but I love to share good wine. So this is about a $22 bottle, something like that. So I'm super big into chocolate chip cookies, right? Who isn't? But with all due respect, you kind of get sick of the same old chocolate chip cookie recipe, right? Unless you're going to like DoubleTree, which is like the new big thing and they're releasing the recipe. We get sick of the same cookies all the time, right? So I try to find ways to spruce them up. So for instance, this recipe actually started as a chocolate chip cookie recipe utilizing iodized salt. So these are the salts that you usually use when you make cookies here, right? Just a regular, more an iodized salt. I don't know, I think it was when I was in Europe. I lived in France for a little bit when I was in high school. And I had just regular chocolate, like, a bar of chocolate. And let me tell you, it was like a sea salted chocolate, but like some high-end thing. And it was the best bite I've ever had. So I'm literally making chocolate chip cookies. I don't know, I started this recipe probably in college. And I'm like, I should add sea salt, right? Just to try it. So I messed it up a bunch of times, right? So I used the regular recipe, but I messed it up. What I did is I added sea salt to the top of the cookies. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. We'll talk about that. Then I over added it, right? Because I'm like, okay, iodized salt, sea salt's great. And then they didn't come out that great. So you have to find creative ways to put the sea salt in the recipe so it's not overpowering, which is what I did. And hence we have this recipe, which I will tell you is a favorite. So one of my staff members at the office, Jen, just signed on, and I have to tell you, Jen will tell you, Jen's probably put on like, what, Jen, I don't know, I didn't want to know, but probably at least 10 pounds from baking. You don't look like it, but they complain about it all the time. So I bake, and then I don't eat it all, clearly, so I bring it into the office, then I make them all eat it. And it's appreciated, is my understanding. So getting back to I always measure everything out ahead of time. I'll tell you guys what they are, I'll show the recipe, but just so you guys know, again, this is super. You have to be careful with the type of sea salt you use and the amount of it. You can destroy this recipe really fast, okay? But I'm telling you, when you take a bite of the cookie afterwards, you're gonna get like a nice, like super chocolatey cookie, like a chocolate chip, and then it's gonna hit you like as you're eating it. There's gonna be like a tinge of like salt, and it's super awesome, okay? Again, most of you guys know me. I'm a local personal injury workers' comp attorney. I'm always looking for ways to get to know people better and to make, the law more interesting. The law is no more about a bunch of old stuffy men in suits sitting in a room and deciding who's going to give one a favor to settle your case for crappy money. The tides have turned, right? The next generation of injury lawyer. Being my age and running one of the fastest growing firms in the state of Connecticut is quite an honor. And it's because all you guys support us, right? And we do great work. Some of the settlements I get asked all the time, hey, how did you get that kind of money? They read about it in the paper or in the trib, and I say, well, hard work, and you put the pedal to the metal 100 miles an hour all the time, whether you're in lap 5 or lap 10 or lap 20. And when you do it that way, and you guys can kind of see I have a lot of, positive energy coming off all the time. Jurors like that. Insurance companies are scared of it. Insurance adjusters don't really know what to do with it. So that's who I am. So I'm like, okay, well, we're all working from home. People are probably depressed at home right now. Some of you guys might be. And let's do something fun. So we're going to do bacon sip, and that's what we do. And we've had tons of viewers. The first video had 5,000 views, which is awesome. So if you guys share this afterwards, right, share the recipe, people get to know me a little bit. I don't do this for business. I'm very happy to take business if you would love to talk to me, but I do this to really get to connect to people in the community. I love doing that. It's the best part of my job when you're a public figure and you're seen on billboards and TV. I believe we should all utilize that for good, and utilize that for good by putting yourself out in the community and doing things like this. I believe the best relationship between an attorney and a client comes from us knowing each other the best, right? If you don't know me, then how do you trust me? If I don't know you, how do I not trust you, right? All right, so now the boring stuff's over. Again, it's a chocolate chip cookie recipe, but I call them, this is mine, sea salted chocolate chip cookies. You will Google it and you will find that you will not find another recipe with this title. Why? Well, unless if it's not mine. Why? Because this is the best one, okay? So I have actually ordered a new mixer. I have my mixer here. You guys have heard the noise it's made a little bit. We got this for our wedding, and this thing drives me nuts. I can't stand when technology doesn't work or it just doesn't work the right way. So I ordered a new mixer, which is going to be here in a couple of weeks. I got the taller KitchenAid Pro. Right now I'm going to continue using this. This is a KitchenAid Pro, but it's a shorter one. But you're going to hear some noise as it's going, blah, blah, blah. You guys were messaging me before. Thank you. I'm aware of the noise. So I'm going to grab the butter. I have butter softened. Again, guys, for this recipe, softened butter, did you guys know why you soften butter or melt butter or keep butter cold when you do cookies? Does anybody know the answer? And you can type in the answer on the chat screen. Do you guys know why we do that? Anybody? You guys can guess, or I can tell you, whatever. I like to keep this conversational, so just type in your answer, then I'm happy to help. Oh, this is good. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab the butter. You type in your answers. Tell me, don't Google it. Tell me why you think that it's important to soften butter rather than melt it. All right, let's see. What are my answers? Helps incorporate the butter better. Kind of. Mike, you're hilarious. Okay, so the reason you soften versus melt versus cold is consistency. If you want the cookie to be like, look like a chocolate chip cookie or any kind of cookie, sugar, whatever, you need to use butter that's softened. If you melt it, it's gonna spread out more and the edges are gonna be crunchy. Okay, which is okay. Some people like it like that. But softened butter in this recipe is important. So consistency is key. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple of my tricks too. So butter usually takes overnight, right? So how many of you guys have planned on making cookies and you're like, oh, I forgot, I didn't soften the butter overnight, now I can't make them. Not true. The best way, it mixes better with the other, but that's true too. But the reason is consistency. Chewier cookies. You're truly full. Yeah. So the reason why, well, excuse me, I'm going to take a step back. The melting of the butter. And that's true, but sometimes you need to mix hard butter. Shortbread cookies are actually chilled butter, right? I'll do some thumbprint cookies one day. You cut them into cubes and then you put them in the freezer and then you have to mix all that together. It just all goes to consistency. And as you know, shortbread is dense. These cookies, I put a lot of chocolate in them, makes them dense, but they're not supposed to be dense. So to melt butter, secret, so I just melted this, and you guys can probably tell it's melted. I just melted this over an hour. How did I do it? I put it in a dark colored bowl, right? And you put it in a window in the sunlight. Don't open the window because it's cold right now. You put it in, I use salted for everything, even if it's unsalted, I use salted. I put it in the window. And you put it in the sun, you will have softened butter in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Throw it in 2 hours. But I don't know what to tell you if it's a rainy day, but if it's a sunny day, don't put it outside. Put it in the window, keep it inside so you get some room temperature air. And look, it's nice, and I just did this an hour and a half ago. All right, so first things first, oven on 375. I had it going before, it won't take long. This recipe is a little different because most chocolate chip recipes, if you've made them, typically are at 350. This is at 375, so we'll get that going. So first things first, I don't know, I love creaming butter and sugar together. It gets fluffy, it's really cool, and honestly, it's like, so like in the baker's world, it's like when you change the consistency of everything and then they become whippy, it's awesome because it definitely is going to tell you have a good cookie. You can tell from when a recipe, like a new one, if you mix the sugars together and the butter and how the consistency is, the whippier, the lighter the cookie, the non-whippier, the hard, the more dense, you're not going to have a soft cookie. You're probably going to get more of a lump kind of thing. So first things first, it's a cup of butter, right? A cup of softened butter. Again, guys, I use salted. Good question, Doreen. I always use salted butter for everything. I don't care if it says unsalted. There's so little salt in salted butter, it does not make sense. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference. And salt doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't hurt anybody, because for some it does, sure. But obviously, it makes it taste better. And if you're eating a cookie, you probably can afford to have a little bit of salt. If you're eating a cookie and you can't, you probably don't care, so eat the salted butter. And I'm a big proponent of throwing out my stuff as I go, just kind of what I do. What is everybody drinking for wine, by the way? Is everybody drinking wine, hopefully, or some sort of something? Again, I have the decoy, and a winner at the end of this that's watching it will get a bottle of decoy sent to them. Thank you to Goff Group, okay? So, cup of butter, fine. I like to use stainless steel for this. I have a glass one too, but this one's better. I always like to mix. So a normal recipe for this came from, they want you to always typically use more white sugar than brown sugar. I don't agree with that. I always change recipes, okay? Part of cooking, or baking, I should say, is the changing recipes to your liking. I love you should always have an equal amount. So I love to change recipes and have them awesome. So this one is you're gonna use a cup of white granulated sugar, not Truvia, not Splenda. Guys, I'm telling you, it doesn't come out right. And you're talking to somebody, as you all know, most of you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I don't cook with Truvia and Splenda unless it's like for food, not baking goods, because the sugar's so strong and it has this super sharp sweet taste. I don't like it. So a cup, right, of sugar, fine. Cup of white sugar, done. And then you're gonna do a cup of brown sugar. Again, the original recipe called for a cup and a half of white, half a cup of brown. Don't do it. I like brown sugar. It's actually better for you and it tastes awesome. So you're gonna use a cup of white and a cup of brown. Boom, done. And they say packed, guys. Do you guys know, when you actually do it, ginger ale's fine, Nancy, that's good. When you guys are cooking, do you see packed brown sugar and wonder what they mean? So I actually watched, because I did, and so I watched a YouTuber, I'm like, do they actually mean? So brown sugar is super malleable, meaning that you can push it down and push it down and push it down. That's what they mean. You need to pack it. Take a scoop, push it down. If you scoop out a full cup, you should be able to scoop out another probably quarter to a half a cup because you're pressing it down. You want to pack it. Why? It has nothing to do with the consistency. It has everything to do with the amount of it that you're going to get. And because brown sugar is almost like kinetic sand, right? You want to make sure that you're packing it down. So we have the 2 sugars and the butter in the bowl. Fine, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to cream them together. I always run it forever. You can't cream the butter and the sugar too long. I'm telling you, they might tell you can. I assure you cannot. Let it go. Just let it go, okay? So I love these bowls. These are Costco bowls, see? These are awesome. These are my fave. So Jennifer have it. I will, sure. I'm going to drop off some for Jen and Missy, so I'll drop some off. So again, Costco, they were 3 big bowls for $14 or something ridiculous. Awesome bowls. They last forever, and they're good, and they're super, super, super light, so they're good for this kind of thing. 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, guys, listen to me when I say this. All-purpose flour, not gluten-free flour, not almond flour, not coconut flour. You guys got to understand that these recipes that you find, and this one included, do not take into account those flours do not work the same way. as a regular all-purpose, okay? So that's important, all right? So you gotta make sure if a recipe calls for all-purpose, like this one, you use all-purpose or don't bother. 3 cups, okay? Put it in a nice bowl, a bigger bowl because you're gonna add some more stuff to it. You're gonna throw in the baking soda. Again, I'm a big Bob's Red Mill fan. They don't pay me to say that. I'd tell you if they did, but they don't. I say it because when I find good products, I like to share with people. So you're gonna do a teaspoon of the baking soda, okay? Bam, right in the flour. You're gonna do a half a teaspoon, which is weird about this recipe, of the baking powder, okay? Half a teaspoon baking powder. Love me some Costco, I know I love Costco. Okay, half teaspoon baking powder, right? Fine. So teaspoon of baking soda, half teaspoon of baking powder. You're gonna do your salt. Guys, sea salt. The type of salt you use in a recipe like this is key, okay? If you don't use a good sea salt, it's not gonna taste as good as it should. So this is actually one from Israel, but I mean, you don't have to go that far. This is from the Dead Sea, but you see here, right? Nice pepper grinder, but it's a sea salt, right? You are going to take one of these and then you're gonna grind it in a bowl, okay? You need a total of a teaspoon. It takes a lot of grinding to get there. You literally want to take it and grind it into the thing. I already ground a bunch, but it gives you these like amazing pieces. Like look, I'm gonna show you guys if you guys can see, hopefully. Can you see the crystals there? Bigger than iodized salt, and they're awesome, and they actually hold their form, okay? So you're gonna do a teaspoon of that. How about Himalayan salt? Jennifer, it's going to be too strong. I know that sounds super weird. Sea salt's awesome. So Himalayan salt, good question. I have found it's too, as weird as it sounds comparing salt, sea salt keeps its consistency so it doesn't get as fine, but it's not as like potent as Himalayan salt, in my opinion. Everybody has though a different flavor profile that they like. So a teaspoon of it, which is not a little bit of salt, guys, okay? So you're gonna take your teaspoon, bam, here, and then like I said, you're gonna grind it out. I always measure it over the sink, and I need a little bit more. Do not chins out on the salt, okay? Because that honestly is what makes these so good. And I want you guys to make these. So I'm coming up with some sort of a thing for people that share pictures of the stuff that I make that they make. Something like maybe like giving away an all-clad set or something, like nice like baking sheets or something. I haven't decided, but I will. You guys know I'm creative. A teaspoon, an actual teaspoon. I don't believe in actual measurements, okay? You're gonna learn that about me. I believe in if it says a teaspoon, it means make the teaspoon a little, not a lot round, but a little. However, for this, for the actual sea salt, you're gonna be exact, okay? Throw the teaspoon of sea salt in the mix. So now we have the flours in there, baking soda, sea salt, and baking powder. Mix them. Don't get crazy. Don't sift it. Honestly, when I sift flour, I feel like it changes the consistency. It really ticks me off. And I always mix with a big fork, by the way. I don't know why. I just have always done that. I feel like it gets it around a lot more, and it's easier to mix. But do not sift this. I don't know why people do that. They think it mixes better. I don't know. Baking soda and baking powder looked like it came out in the same bag. Nope. There you go. Good? Okay. So they're both Bob's Red Mill. Maybe that's why. Good? All right. So you're going to mix them. So again, we have our baking soda, salt, baking powder, all-purpose flour. Done. Right? Fine. What store can I find the salt you're using? Hard to tell you, right? So here's the thing. You can order it online, but you can just order like, go online and look up like sea salt grinder or something like this. This will help you. And honestly, I didn't put the baking powder in. Thank you. That's what I didn't do. I put the salt because I was grinding the salt. I put the baking soda and I put the flour. So again, baking powder. Thank you for catching that, Dave. Thank you. So half a teaspoon of baking powder. What I did is I had some left in the baking soda when I was mentioning it. So there we go. Done. Good? Okay. All right, done. Good? Okay. Now, set that aside. Your stuff is creamy in the other thing. Beat in the eggs and the vanilla till fluffy. Add one, then the other, okay? Grocery stores have it big way. Probably, I mean, you can even order on Amazon. It's just regular below sea level sea salt. Okay. So, you guys can't see me over here, but I'm gonna be mixing in the 2 eggs now, and then we're gonna let those mix for a minute. All right. Good. Perfect. All right. All right. So now we're going to, so when this is all happening, by the way, you're going to add the vanilla in a second, I'm going to tell you what I do. In chocolate chip cookies, I always use Hershey's, right? I use Toll House chocolate chips. Fine, here you go. There's your 2 cups of them, by the way. But I always like to use Hershey bars, and I break them up and I put them in. But look at these Hershey bars. They look a little different, right? Watch. What do you think I put on them? Right? I ground sea salt onto the Hershey bars, but wait, one would think that it's not going to stay on. So you take something that's relatively, you know, a weapon of some sort, and then I just pound it into the Hershey bars. So you lose some of the salt, but it actually pounds it in. So now watch. I'm going to show you guys. I'm holding it upright so you can see it's not falling. It stays. See? This is the best part because people are going to be able to mange on this a bit, and it's going to taste awesome. Okay? So I'm adding the vanilla into the mix. You guys can hear it going behind me. Again, Costco vanilla because that's the best. It is. It's sea salt. Exactly. So the vanilla is going to be 2 teaspoons, which is kind of a lot, but I love vanilla, so I don't care. So you're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Measure them out here. And I'm going to just throw it in the thing. And guys, I'll post this recipe so you don't have to get, you know, like crazy. When it says 2 teaspoons, I always add like an extra half, not quite a half, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, because vanilla is awesome, and who doesn't love vanilla, right? All right, so now this is going over here with the vanilla. You're gonna add the dry ingredients to that once it's done getting crazy with itself. So just give it a minute. The dry ingredients will be added. We can have a drink of our wine. Then we're gonna sort them out on the cookie trays and we'll be good to go. So what I do, so the bake time on these guys is 8 to 10 minutes. What I do is I do them over 8 minutes, take them out, break up the chocolate chip, the Hershey bars, right, that we just pounded the sea salt into, and then I put them in there as they're almost done. Then you let the Hershey's melt in them just a little bit, and it tastes awesome, and it adds something to the Hershey that's in there already, the chocolate chips. So, I mean, just add in your dry ingredients slowly. You guys can't see me doing this, but I assure you I'm adding in dry ingredients. And they're just kicking around in there now. And take your time with this, guys, because you can make a big mess if you don't. You're going to want to use a mixer for this recipe. You have to. So I don't care if it's a Hamilton Beach. I don't care if it's something cheap. I don't care if it's a Ninja KitchenAid. You're going to want to use a mixer. And they're almost done. So give them a minute to throw around the dry ingredients. And then I like to scrape the sides before I put in the chocolate chips. It doesn't really matter what you use to do that. I have many devices that I've used in my house. Depends on what's available, I suppose, which is what I'm checking right now. And I have a scraper, surprisingly, because I never have one available. I've made my own vanilla extract, super easy and ridiculous. Give it a try. That sounds awesome. I love vanilla. I almost made maple extract one time because how many people would be interested in me doing next week maple bacon cookies? Is anybody into that? Because I make a really, really good maple bacon cookie. Just let me know. I'm going to go take care of this. So that's all spinning together. And like I said, before you add the chocolate chips, you got to like Just, you know, scrape down the sides. That's all I'm doing is scraping down the sides. I'll show this to you in a minute, guys, when I'm done. Okay. So scrape down the sides, fine, done. And now you're gonna add the 2 cups of chocolate chip, which is kind of crazy, right? So you gotta make sure you have a mixer that can handle it. And I would just throw them all in at the same time. And here's the thing, that is not 2 cups, that's like 2.5, because as most of my clients will tell you, I'm kind of go big or go home, right? That's kind of my personality. So, like bacon, come on. I love to try it, not so confident in making myself. Maple bacon cookies are awesome. They're really good, they're fun to make, and they're different, which, I mean, guys, we all get bored with the same old, right? So they get boring to make the same thing. So I always like to try new things. If it's a fail, it's a fail. If it's not a fail, then it makes the recipe repertoire, right? So my blender is almost got this done. It needs like 10 seconds. And then I'll show you guys the dough. It looks awesome, and it actually smells really good too, because I think it's the mixture of the vanilla, probably. But, and I'm gonna take this over, then I'm gonna show you guys the dough just so you can kind of see the consistency that we're gonna use. And you guys can actually freeze this too. So that's the other good thing about this recipe, because it's so hearty. You can actually freeze it, the cookie dough. I wouldn't freeze it for more than a week, but you can. People have. I probably wouldn't freeze it that long. If you're making like a batch, or then you have people coming over or whatever, you can take care of it. But look how good this looks. Like, it's honestly like textbook. Bam. And like, you can see the consistency. I just washed my hands. See? It's not sticking to my fingers. That's all good signs for good cookie dough, right? So yeah, I'm gonna post the recipe, Jennifer, no worries. So, okay, I do 12 on each thing. And again, I just washed my hands before I started. So I don't make little cookies, because I think that I would rather eat one big one than 2 or 3 little ones. So here, right? Just make them a decent size, not too small, but not too big. But you guys if you guys can see, it's literally not sticking to my hands. That's what you want with this. If it sticks, it means you have the wrong consistency. And that's not a good situation. Now, one other thing you guys should know. If you go a little overboard, like by mistake, if it says a half a teaspoon of baking powder and you go closer to a full or what have you, it's not going to make or break a recipe. People panic and then they throw out stuff. Don't do that. It might change the consistency a bit, I suppose, but as long as all the ingredients are in there and it's not crazy off target, you'll be fine. So yeah, these are, because I don't really, you guys see, I'm not here with a knife measuring out everything. I don't do that. I just kind of measure it, and I'm sure most of my stuff gets over measured, and I don't really care. So I'm going to show you the size of them, and then I'm going to throw them in, and we'll talk about some fun stuff. Tell you guys some stories. I can tell you about some settlements since this Corona business has happened, if you guys want to hear some. 3 across, Doreen. That's all. Just 3 across. That's all I do. Yeah, I'll show you what they look like when I'm done. They have it's literally like the perfect cookie dough this makes. And the salt has to do with taste, but not texture. It's just the proper blending of the ingredients. So here you go. Number 1, parchment paper is necessary because, there you go, because you don't want them sticking. Not that they'll stick anyways, but, and one other thing you guys should know, I do not bake 2 rows of cookies in the same batch. I never do. I always wait for one to come out and then put in the other one. I have an oven that supports it, of course, who doesn't? But I never put 2 things in because it mixes up the cooking. The other thing you want to make sure you do, guys, is you want to make sure that you do not put this on convention. A lot of people put this on convection bake because it's habitual for them. Don't put this on convection bake. It's not going to cook right. All right? So you want to just put it on regular bake, 375, and they're going to bake for about 8 minutes. And then we're going to, after I'm done with this, we'll talk about a little bit about what's been happening in the personal injury world, if you guys want, or the workers' comp world, or whatever you want to hear about. Because many people have cases and they have no idea what is going on, unfortunately, because the rules have changed. The good news, guys, is that the courts, the third-party cases, car accidents, these kind of things, are going to start hearing some motions, which is great because they've been closed to date. So I'm very happy about that, which means that you guys that have cases in suit, your cases will start moving a little faster, which is great. We've been waiting for this. I don't know why they didn't do this before because workers' comp's been doing it, but the courts all like really just closed down for no reason for an extended period of time because I don't know that they have the technology. So I'm glad to see that now that I believe as of the end of the week, they're going to start hearing motions, which makes us happy because we can practice law, right? That's what you guys have us do. Workers' comp is still the same. They're doing hearings, no formals, which means no trials, which is totally fine. And we're getting cases resolved and situations resolved as well. So, all right. So here's 24, and look how much I have left. Oops, I'm sticking. So I still have probably another 5 or 6. So we're going to kind of just let it sit in there for a minute. I'm going to pull up a stool. I'm going to grab my wine. You guys are going to do the same. And we'll talk shop a bit, okay? Because that's the fun part. So these are I made some s'mores cookies the other day because everybody requests these things, especially children. When I make chocolate chip, they say I left out the marshmallows. And these were an awesome batch. Check these out. And I can post this recipe again too. But do you see? This is more of a melted consistency. See how that does that at the end? You get like crunchy edges, but a soft inside. These are awesome. These are kind of like what I'm known for. Are these ones. So I made these yesterday and they were a good batch. And what I've been doing is making cookies and then delivering them to friends, right? Around the area. I drop them at the doorstep and I run. And it's fun. And people appreciate it. I enjoy doing it. And yeah, we have a good time with it. So, shop. What do you guys want to hear about? Anything at all. Because if you want to hear about anything, I'm here to talk. Or I can talk to you about some case settlements as of recent. I can talk to you guys about what to do in certain situations. We can talk to, if there's any medical providers in here, we can talk about the COVID business going on. I know, well, the Christmas container, they're the best ones. Those are the ones that come out. Again, where do you think I got that? Probably Costco. So let's talk about some case settlement stuff first, okay? So it's been a very busy couple months, and it's great. Since we've been working from home, fully remote, we're fully business as usual. We have signed 51 cases, and that's in a month, which is amazing. I spoke to an attorney last week. He's signed 3 in a month. So we're doing awesome, and our marketing has worked, which is great, and people are realizing that there are other I don't want to call it opportunity, but there are other options for them than the regular run-of-the-mill attorneys that they've been dealing with all along, right? Which is great. I have a case where a woman, I was her 3rd lawyer, okay? She was being represented by a group of lawyers in New Milford, then another group of lawyers in Stamford. She was in a car accident, and she hurt her neck, right? Now, here's the deal. She had a fall 2 years before where she hurt her neck again, right? So, well, firstly, the accident was again, but first, 2 years before. And let's call it 2015. And she really messed up her neck, right? But she was okay, not a ton of treatment. So she now gets in this car accident. There was no damage to the defendant's car, being the car that hit her from behind. My client was driving a very expensive Mercedes in Greenwich, and the damage to her car was $3,500, but you couldn't really see it, guys, okay? This is not, some cars $3,500, you pull up a poster and you see it and you're like, oh my God, this was not the case. You couldn't see the damage to this car, all right? Fine. So she goes to the doctor, she complains of her neck. They take images, and those images are compared to the images from when she fell 2 years before, right? There wasn't a hell of a lot of change, guys. And I gotta tell you, the client was not gonna do amazing in front of a jury. So I have a bunch of things going against me, right? Which is not something you wanna see when you do my job. You don't wanna see your client not be favorable in front of a jury. You don't want to see already negatives coming out in the beginning that can be held against your client later, right? You don't want to see any of that when you're doing my job. And you have to best direct your client when you do my job and be nice about it and say, look, you're going to be better off settling because a jury is not going to love this case, right? Fine. So long story short, The insurance company had 10 grand on the file. Her medicals were $35,000. But again, they were claiming, the insurance company was claiming all of it was related to the prior case, right? The prior fall. It wasn't even a case, it was a fall. She did real estate and she was showing a property and she fell near the water. We fought this over a year. Now, I was the third attorney, so attorneys had this 2 years before I got it. I had it for a year. I took the deposition of the woman that hit her, and the woman's like, and because she denied my client being injured in her answer, it's a pleading thing, and the woman's like, I never denied that, which doesn't look good, guys, right? Doesn't look good to a jury if the jury hears that the attorneys are just doing pleadings and not the clients themselves, the defendant or the plaintiff. Fine. So she wasn't very likable either. So I knew that the worst case scenario was if I get to trial, the jury's not going to love both of them. My client's going to get a mediocre result, but I don't want that either. So we had trial set for Christmas week of this year, 2019. And I knew counsel did not want to go to Stanford from, I think he lives in New Haven. No way. I mean, trust me, guys. Every day, back and forth for weeks is not something anybody wants to do. So we built up the case. We made it look like we were going to call maybe 2 or 3 weeks of experts. Long story short, like I said, the offer was 10 grand. I got them to agree to arbitration, which arbitration, in case you don't know, is when you agree on a high and a low. This does not go for comp, guys. This is always third party. A high and a low, right? And so let's just say you agreed on a $50,000 low and a $100,000 high, right? If the arbitrator comes back and says, I don't believe your client should get 0, well, no, she gets 50 because we had pre-agreed parameters. But if the arbitrator comes back at 500,000, no, your client gets 100, right? Pre-agreed parameters. I negotiated parameters in this file of 0 because I knew my client was going to get something, well, at least hoped, and to 250 because they only wanted to go to 175. So I said, okay, you want to go to 175? Well, they wanted 50, 175, and I said, okay, I'll go 0, 250. That's how I got them there. Fine. We're kicking back, going back and forth. Long story short, guys, right? I got my arbitration decision, and what do you think it was? So 40 grand in meds. She didn't follow through with treatment after the first year. Like I said, in front of a jury would be a little difficult. I got $238,000. And the offer, right, was $10,000 prior to trial. The judge that we went in to meet with, to discuss this case with, he put the case valued at somewhere between 150 and 175. We got 238 and change. How do you do that? You build up your files. The fact that they had this at 10 grand and they paid it, by the way, my clients paid, that's a big deal, right? I mean, we can agree on that. I have another case where the original offer on the file was $2,500, not a lot, right? The client was a bicyclist in Stanford. He was riding on the sidewalk, which again is kind of a no-no, so to speak, for liability reasons. I'm checking the cookies now. Riding on the sidewalk, minding his business, almost there, and he gets hit by somebody coming out of a driveway that says she didn't see him. The offer prior to, and the meds were 10 grand all paid, right? The offer prior to me, as I told you, there was $1,500, then $2,500. I said no way. My last demand was $50,000. My client's okay, guys. Okay, he's okay. He was like 18 at the time. He's now 19 and a half. He's fine. He's okay. And I negotiated it. My client was injured. He deserved compensation. The person was negligent, clearly. I just settled the case for $30,000. The initial offer that they gave to my client was $1,500, then $2,500. That's what he hired me with. So why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because, guys, the insurance companies see you guys coming a mile away when you're not represented. A lot of people don't get lawyers because they think we're thieves or they think that the attorney's fees are going to be more than you can actually get on your own. I assure you, and I tell my clients this when they hire me, in the event that the attorney's fee, right, comes in and you end up getting less than you would have gotten on your own, any good lawyer is going to not take that fee. It's a risk we all take, right? So for instance, if you came in my office and you had a $5,000 offer, that means a client would get $5,000, right? You'd get $5,000. So why are you going to hire me to settle your case for $7,500 so you can get $5,000 again and expenses? You're not. So I always look at case. There's some law firms, and you can write up the I-95 and you can see them. There are many law firms, in fact, that will take your case and they don't care. They don't care because they just need the bottom line money because they have 100 associates running around that they need to pay, and that are all probably now laid off at this point. They don't care. I believe in ethical practice of law, and I think that the only way we're going to change the world's view on attorneys, on lawyers, is if we all practice ethically, and that we all put our best foot forward, and that we all serve the public the way that we should, ethically. And if it means that we're not lining our pockets every 5 minutes, as lawyers, that's what it means. But then you're going to have a case like the one I just explained to you, where I sold it for $238, where I did very well. I did great. I'm great, and it was right before the pandemic, so it couldn't have happened at a better time. So again, I'm sharing these stories with you guys. The cookies look awesome. I'm going to give it like 30 seconds more, and then I'm gonna throw the chocolate on there, and we'll talk about that. But I'm telling you guys this because it's important you understand that there are ramifications for repping yourself. And at the end of the day, the last thing, if I'm a client, that I want, right, is to have done all the work on my own, not be able to get the settlement, have an attorney, superwoman or superman, come in and save the day, not do much work and get a third, because after you've the one that's stressed and aggravated over the file, right? So I believe in the ethical practice of law, and that's how I conduct myself. That's how I build my practice, and that's why I'm beating the people that have been in business, 15, 20, 30 years. Because when you think about yourself and then your client, you'll never win. And the client, you guys can smell that out a mile away, don't you think? So, does anybody have any questions about anything? Because these are going to be out soon. I'm going to throw the chocolate in. I'm going to talk to you about that. And then I'm going to show them to you when they're done, which will be done in about 3 minutes after that. And then we'll wrap up. And you guys can go along with your days. So some people are drinking ginger ale. What else is everybody drinking? So like I said, I'm drinking the wine, right? One of the lucky viewers of this is going to get a bottle of this delivered to their home. Social distancing. I think FedEx leaves you a slip. You sign it, then they leave it on your doorstep the next day. It's a really good one. Is anybody else doing anything, or did anybody do anything exciting for Easter or Passover or any of the above? Unfortunately, we couldn't be with our families, most of us, but did anybody use Zoom or any apps to talk to their families, etc.? That's awesome. So by the way, Hershey's bars, right? Little bars. Break them into half. So you should be able to get a little bar and then break that in half. Okay, just like that. Okay. All right. These are definitely ready. So I'm going to pull them, and I'm going to show you what they're supposed to look like when you do this part. All right, see? When I told you I'd make big cookies, I make big cookies. But do you see? They're very doughy on top. Just hardening on the top so that they're not, but they're very, very undone. See? You can hear them. Okay. So I'm going to put these down. I'm going to put the other ones over here, and I'm going to talk to you about these. So I'm going to put you over here now. Hi. Okay, good. So I have the chocolate, sea salted chocolate. I mean, look, it sticks to it when you pound it down like I told you to, see? That's what you want. You just want a little bit of salt in there. So I always stick 2 of these in every cookie, and then I get brave and I usually do more. But for now, we're going to do 2, okay? So throw these in there. And like I said, the dough freezes. I don't know about the cookies. I've never froze cookies before. My mom used to do that. But the dough will freeze. It's been tested, tried and true. Don't be stingy on the salt part of it. If there's salt in the bowl, try to pick it up with your fingers and coat it on the chocolate before you put them in the cookie, because you're going to get a little bit of that salt, right? So here's the other thing that's important. So I told you guys to be careful with the salt, right? So this is what I do, right? 1 grind, that's it. But you get a lot from 1, see? You're then going to go like this over them. So they're going to fall And you're gonna wanna make sure you watch it just to make sure it hits, a little bit hits each cookie, okay? Because this is what's gonna make the flavor of these. And it's gonna grind in and it's gonna be awesome. So just, again, just do this method. This is the way to do it because then it separates and evens out. Okay, throw them back in the oven now. It's not done, right? So you pull them out when they're almost done, but not quite done. See how nice they look? So put them back in the oven. And guys, only use Hershey bars for this. Trust me when I tell you. Only Hershey bars. Hershey bars taste the best, and I'm not just biased, I'm being honest. We all know it. Hershey bars are the best chocolate to use for this. Always use Hershey bars. So those are going to be in a couple more minutes. Some questions came in. It's weird because I can only see them on one screen and not the other. Oh, somebody asked about statute of limitations. Okay, so this might be a little advanced for some of you guys, but statute of limitations. So I hope all of you know that there's this timeline to be able to bring a case in Connecticut. That timeline is for a car accident, slip and fall, dog bite is 2 years, okay? So if it happens on January 1st, 2018, what do you have until? January 1st, 2020. Guys, that's a cardinal rule. Stick by it. Don't try to go outside of it. Governor Lamont has extended the statute of limitations because of the coronavirus, because of service issues, right? My firm has chosen not to follow that and to continue bringing our cases timely. Let me tell you why. I am not going to be the guinea pig, nor are my clients going to be the guinea pig of the motion for summary judgments when these cases, the defendants try to dismiss these cases because the statute of limitations, because we decided to file it after the statute in accordance with the governor's orders. I'm not convinced that the governor has an authority. I stand behind him. I hope he does, but I'm not going to be the guinea pig to find out. So right now, yes, if you were, I think the date was March 27th. If you were in an accident after between March 27, 2018 and now, and you didn't file suit yet, you can try. Yes, you can hire a lawyer, you can try. We've been sticking to the statute of limitations in my office. When something smells funny, I don't get involved, okay? And that's definitely one that does. So I hope he's right. I hope they respect his decision, but I'm telling you, there's gonna be a lot of motion to dismisses out here on this very issue. Now, one more thing, guys, and then we're almost done. We have like another minute or so. So wire racks are awesome, right? I got this at Williams-Sonoma, maybe $10, maybe $15, I don't know. Get a nice big one. You're gonna want this for any recipe. I do not like letting cookies bake in the pan. I think they come out, I don't like a darker bottom. I like it like a brown, just like a cook, like I showed you on the s'mores cookies. The way that sometimes these things work out is if you let them bake in the pan, you're going to get a little bit more of a brown bottom and that kind of burn smell. I don't like it. So I always let them get hard on and cool off on the wire rack. Okay, so we're like 30 seconds. Then I'll show you these bad boys. I'm gonna post the recipe. Is anybody not like red wine that would prefer to have me get them something else? Let me know. It's been fun because I get to send you guys the bottle that I use, which, like I said, is kind of fun. Like I said, this decoy is awesome. It's really soft. It's good. It's smooth, and it's a little oaky, which I kind of like in wine. I'm not seeing a lot of comments. I know you guys were commenting like crazy before, so I don't know if I'm just not scrolled down all the way. Can somebody just write a comment so I can see if it's properly loading? Because if you guys have questions, I want to make sure I answer it. Just say hi or something. Yeah, I think there's something with the comments. So if you're making comments and I'm not answering them for you, I assure you I will do so after I'm done with the show, okay? So I'm going to throw these over here. This is the next ones to go in. But again, we're not starting them, right? We're not starting them until the other ones are out because they won't bake evenly. Okay, these are done. These are awesome. Wait until you guys see these. These are great. Bam. Tell me that I missed my calling, and I won't tell you you're wrong. See these guys? Awesome. Hot. Amazing. You can literally smell salted Hershey bar. I'm telling you, if there's a smell, I think I've created the next Yankee Candle. It's probably salted Hershey bar. So I told you I don't like them to bake in the pan, right? However, you have got to get them off without ruining them. That's why you're gonna let them bake a little longer before putting the Hershey bars in them. You guys can see the bottoms, see? They're nice and not cooked very well, which is good, that's what you want. The edges are brown, see? So that's exactly the consistency you want. We're gonna put these on here. I'm going to deliver these to, if you live in West Hartford and you're watching this and you'd like me to deliver you a small bag, I'm happy to do so. Just message me your address, and if you guys want a snack tonight, I am happy. I'll be out on the road delivering some more of these to some friends of ours. I'm happy to throw 4 or 5 in a little bag and drop them off with you, and then you can actually give a good review as to whether or not you like them. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. This is great. Here they are, all done. They're hot, they're amazing. And my son likes them because the Hershey bars don't melt all the way, so you can still make out like Hershey's, so he tests me and he knows that I do it. Guys, keep watching. We're doing next Wednesday, same time, 5 o'clock. Bring your wine. We're going to pick a winner that's watching this one. Thank you guys for your support. Appreciate it. Like I said, there's more to my job than just fighting the bad guys, right? I'm a human being, and I think that the only way people are going to feel good about hiring you and feel really good about you representing them is if they get to know you. And you guys are now getting to know me in my own house, by the way. So again, anybody wants any of these, throw me a message. I'm happy to deliver them for you in West Hartford. If you don't live in West Hartford, I will drop the recipe. I'm going to come up with some kind of a contest, like I said, where I'll give out like some all-clad baking sheets or something for the people that make the cookies and share them. Next week, I want your vote. Maple bacon. Shortbreads I can make them. They're not my favorite. They're not as exciting. I can make the s'mores cookies again. I can make, which are a fan fave. I can make a maple bacon cookie, or we can do something totally outrageous and crazy. If you guys choose that option, I'll give you some other options. You guys decide. Thanks, guys. Again, remember me for your personal injury workers' comp cases. I give free consults, so if you guys even have questions, reach out to me. I'm very approachable. It'll be me you talk to most of the time. If you call in and say that you saw me on here or heard me on the TV or watched me on TV, heard me on the radio, billboards, whatever. We're all in this together. We're gonna get through it together, and we're all gonna get out of the house and get back to work. So until then, and maybe even after then, bake with me on Wednesdays at 5. Okay, bring your wine. The winner's gonna get a message, and like I said, bake them and share your photos. I think it's great. Makes me feel good about what we're doing, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And share the feedback. If you think that I talk too much or whatever, share your feedback because it's new for me too. Okay, guys, thanks. Take it easy. Have a good one.